It's not just FTX either. So, I mean, that's the whole point. Is
no, it's not FTX. They do business with the worst of the worst. And the crazy thing is, these guys are so stupid at SI, right? The CEO's son-in-law was the head of risk, so they figured out something was wrong. And before FTX went bankrupt, this is what they promoted. It says, this is from their website. It says, life as a crypto firm can be divided up into before Silvergate and after Silvergate. It's hard to overstate how much it revolutionized banking for blockchain companies. And that was endorsed by Sam Bankman-Fried, founder and CEO of Alameda Research and FTX. So
Silvergate has dumped by roughly 60% in a matter of 2 days after pushing back filing, with Bitcoin dropping around 5%. What's going on? How is George Soros involved? What is the counterparty risk here? And how does this impact Bitcoin? As banks drop Bitcoin and crypto companies in a coordinated fashion, this is the Then They Fight You stage, and Silvergate may be going to zero. Let's get it.
Because FTX is a criminal operation. Cut and dried. And if they were doing all this business for FTX, look at what happened to all the banks that did business with Madoff and things like that. So this is serious ass shit.
And let's get it started with this article. These crypto firms have decided to cut ties with Silvergate, Coinbase, Crypto.com, Gemini, Galaxy Digital, Paxos, and Circle, just to name a few. Additionally, Bitstamp issued a statement which read, "Please be aware that Bitstamp cannot be responsible for any funds deposited into the Silvergate Bank account. If you do choose to deposit funds into this account, you do so at your own risk." After a 58% drop in their stock, Silvergate was forced to sell its shares at a sharp loss right after a rush of customers ran to the bank to withdraw billions of dollars in deposits, getting pretty gnarly.
It's a crypto-friendly bank, and shares are just totally sinking. I mean, that feels like an understatement. We're down by 50% in 2 days. Joining us now to discuss, Bloomberg's Katie Greifeld. Katie, what's happening?
It's brutal. So the big news yesterday for this crypto-friendly bank, and it is a bank. It's a traditional bank that provides traditional banking stuff to crypto clients. So yesterday it came out, it said it's not able to file its 10K, which was a big surprise. You can see that in the shares today. Basically, it said that it needs more time to assess the damage to its finances from the likes of FTX, that fallout, and as it also needs to figure out whether it can actually stay in business. Those aren't things that shareholders typically like to see. So you look at shares down about 45% right now, and this is a stock that had been a darling. It had surged something like 300% in 2020, something around 100% in 2021. Not the case right now.
Katie, my experience has taught me that when you see a bank in trouble, the second question you want to ask is counterparty risk. What is happening in terms of the connections to the rest of the industry, the rest of the banking industry?
You are seeing crypto companies run away from this name right now. We've heard from Coinbase, Galaxy, Paxos just today saying that they're not going to accept or initiate payments through Silvergate. And this really calls into question what regulators are going to do with this happening. You had a great quote in a Bloomberg article today basically saying that this confirms a lot of fears that regulators had, basically that banks can't handle cryptocurrency related risks. So what they actually do with that, whether this turns into some sort of policy, remains to be seen. Obviously, traders aren't waiting around, though, when it comes to Silvergate, just absolutely offloading this name.
And guess who shorted Silvergate? Oh yeah, none other than Georgie boy, George Soros. Check this out. George Soros' family office revealed it's betting against crypto-friendly bank Silvergate. The fund held put options on 100,000 shares of Silvergate worth $1.74 million as of December 31st. According to a filing, Silvergate has come under pressure for its linkages to collapsed crypto exchange FTX. More on that to come.
Shares of major crypto bank Silvergate Capital are sinking. The company in a filing late yesterday saying recent events in the industry are raising concerns about its ability to remain in business.
Silvergate in bad shape. Will the crypto-friendly bank file for bankruptcy this weekend? Many speculating that will be the case as investors are worried that Silvergate might file for bankruptcy protection. Longtime critic and short seller Mark Cohodes predicts the bankruptcy filing could arrive before Monday and that its CEO Alan Lane could face federal charges. If the bank collapses, the Federal Deposit Insurance Commission, FDIC, might overtake the bank in order to protect depositors, liquidate assets, and facilitate facilitate its orderly dissolution. And here we go. Alameda Research and FTX were once Silvergate's biggest customer duo. FTX allegedly routed customer deposits through Alameda Research account at Silvergate. Several digital asset companies are actively terminating their relationship with Silvergate, as we mentioned prior.
Just how important is it when it comes to crypto companies that operate in the U.S.?
Well, traditionally, U.S. banks have not been wild about crypto companies. Most of them don't provide services to crypto companies, and that's been an ongoing issue for the crypto industry. Silvergate and Signature Bank are two of the two most prominent names in the U.S. for banks that provide services to crypto companies, and it's obviously not a big list. So if Silvergate is having troubles, and especially if it's having issues related to its crypto business or because of the crypto business, which seems fairly more than likely at this point, then that's first off not good for the companies that it services. It suggests that it may have liquidity issues. If you're using a Silvergate Bank, it's probably going to be something you have to look elsewhere now. I think Coinbase just announced that, for example, it would be looking toward Signature Bank instead of Silvergate moving forward. LedgerX, I believe, is in a similar boat. So first off, not good for, if you're looking for a choice of banks. Signature may be like the only, bank left standing. But also from like a broader industry perspective, if you're a bank and you're thinking, this crypto industry is having a rough couple of years, but maybe it's looking up, maybe it's time to start providing services to it, to a company in this industry, you're not going to look at Silvergate and say, oh yeah, that's a good sign. That's going to be a pretty big red flag if in future you decide, okay, crypto stabilized, all the companies will start filing for bankruptcy. Here's this company asking for banking services. If you're a bank, you might not want to go that far.
Some more interesting developments. Coinbase cutting ties with Silvergate forces crypto hedge fund to find a new bank. Crypto hedge fund Digital Asset Capital Management, with assets worth over $400 million, announced it was looking for a new banking partner in Switzerland post-Silvergate chaos. In an interview with Bloomberg, DACM co-founder Richard Galvin said that although certain banks in the United States can handle crypto transactions, they're not as crypto-focused as Silvergate. He added that finding a new partner could take time, and they are speaking to some Swiss banks. In the U.S., Signature Bank seems to be the next popular fintech bank of choice for these companies, but the question is for how long? In December 2022, Signature Bank announced its intention to withdraw up to $10 billion in deposits from its clients holding digital assets, starting a general exodus from the cryptocurrency sector. The bank had already severed ties with Binance, discontinuing its Swift banking services to the exchange. This Silvergate saga has definitely raised the difficulty level of transferring cash to an exchange. All right, and this is where we'll get into kind of this coordinated attack as regulator warnings prompt HSBC and nationwide banks to limit crypto transactions. In response to the evolving legal and regulatory landscape surrounding the crypto industry, HSBC Holdings PLC and Nationwide Building Society have taken measures to limit retail customers' access to crypto assets. The latest development highlights the growing concerns and uncertainties faced by UK banks regarding the use and trade of crypto. A Bloomberg report quoted the bank as saying, "This is because of the possible risk to customers, not the government's debasing their currency. That's no risk at all." More information is available on Nationwide's decision. Credit cards can no longer be used for crypto purchases, and the bank is applying daily limits of about $6,000 on debit card purchases, the announcement stated. For an account type designed for young people until the age of 23, the daily limit is now $120. Quote, "These will apply where we identify payments to crypto exchanges," it said, adding, quote, "These limits apply anytime you use cards to make a payment. That includes using a digital wallet such as Apple Pay or Google Wallet. Additionally, card payments made to major crypto exchange Binance have been restricted and will be declined, which follows similar action from other providers. Even with your direct consent, in person or by telephone, we can't remove the restriction and allow you to make a payment to Binance," Nationwide said. Not only this regulator, but the IMF and and the FATF as well keep warning banks about allowing crypto purchases, citing what they say are the risks that crypto can pose to the traditional financial system. The U.S. Fed as well said financial institutions must be cautious of potential heightened liquidity risks that come with some sources of funding from crypto-related entities. And the major fallout, we're going to see how this all plays out. MicroStrategy claims minimal exposure as, again, Crypto.com, Coinbase, and Gemini pause transactions with Silvergate, who could be bankrupt by Monday. This is wild stuff. Also, as this all was playing out, we saw about a 5% drop in Bitcoin's price, 200 million of Bitcoin long liquidations as Bitcoin dropped to about 22K, 250 million of liquidations in just the past 24 hours as of this morning. Wild. Get your coins off the exchange. And we've covered the SEC crackdown extensively here in this article from Cointelegraph. SEC chair implies crypto exchanges may not be qualified custodians. So this new rule would enhance protections provided by qualified custodians in light of new authorities granted by Congress in 2010, Gensler said. The proposed rule would also require written agreements between advisors and custodians, add requirements for foreign institutions serving as custodians, and explicitly extend the safeguard rules to discretionary trading. Investment advisors, he continued, cannot rely on crypto platforms to perform custodial functions, Gensler added. Quote, just because a crypto trading platform claims to be a qualified custodian doesn't mean that it is. When these platforms fail, investors' assets often have become property of the failed company, leaving investors in line at the bankruptcy court. To be a qualified custodian under the new rule, a firm would need to ensure that all assets are properly segregated, submit to annual audits from public accountants, and undertake other transparency measures, so attempting to be regulatorily overburdensome. And of course, she's always waiting for blood in the water. Elizabeth Warren and colleagues demand to see Binance's balance sheet. Ooh. Heating up for CZ. Crypto skeptic Warren's co-signers were fellow Democrat Chris Van Hollen, Republican Roger Marshall, and they claimed there is evidence that the companies attempted to evade U.S. regulators, evade sanctions, and facilitated the laundering of at least $10 billion and lack transparency. Quote, what little information about Binance finances is available to the public suggests that the exchange is a hotbed of illegal financial activity, the senators wrote, concluding, your company's apparent attempts at evading the enforcement of anti-money laundering laws, securities laws, information reporting requirements, and other financial regulations cast serious doubt on the stability and legitimacy of Binance and its related entities, and on your commitment to your customers. It is getting spicy. The senators requested documents and other information. At the top of the list is, quote, all Binance and Binance subsidiary balance sheets from 2017 to the present. In addition, they asked for copies of AML and similar policies, documentation of the relationship between Binance and Binance US, and other information, as well as explanations of various news reports. I wonder if we were in there. And they gave the addressees 2 weeks to respond. Wow. Leave it to Liz, am I right? But while Silvergate bankruptcy seems all but certain now, the elephant in the room, as Dylan LeClaire said, it isn't FUD, it's due diligence. Let's get to the tweets. All right, here we go from Chew. This is epic right here. My coins are me and I are my coins. Ain't nothing Silvergate or Mountain Docs can do about it. Huddle for dear life, brothers and sisters. We are going to make it. And here we go.
Mr. Depp, you're down 95%. Have you ever considered selling?
No, I can't. That's no.
The way of the hodl, diamond hands, baby. Like Johnny Depp, have those diamond hands. And this from rsync, retweeting Bitcoin Magazine. Just in, new court filing shows FTX owes customers $1.6 billion of Bitcoin, but they only actually have $1 million worth. Only 0.06% of what they should have. Get your Bitcoin off of exchanges. It's not real. It's paper Bitcoin. That's their Bitcoin. Not your keys. Not your Bitcoin. Not your keys. Not your cheese. Come on. Take self-custody. That is the revolution. Don't let these exchanges hold your Bitcoin. It is a surefire way to lose your Bitcoin. And let's go right here with John Reed Stark, and he's pretty right when it comes to crypto and shitcoins. If you're a bank and doing crypto-related business, you're not only risking mammoth regulatory scrutiny, criminal investigation, and terrifying, unimaginable bank runs, you also risk becoming insolvent. If you lie down with dogs, you'll get up with fleas. That's right, don't shitcoin. It's bad for you. All right, now let's go ahead and round it out with this base tweet from Samson Mao. What's happening to Silvergate now can happen to any bank. Be your own bank. Well, the bodies are still hitting the floor as the shitcoin slaughter continues. Not only that, but it appears there is a coordinated international effort to stifle adoption in action. Make sure you take self-custody. Be sure to check out this video for more on action at the SEC and the regulatory crackdown. Be sure to tune in to Simply Bitcoin Live at 12:15 Monday through Friday Eastern Standard Time and get the Simply Bitcoin signal in its written form. Subscribe to Simply Bitcoin Unfiltered. Do it for the culture. Tune in tomorrow. We'll dive into a paper from a prestigious institution detailing how to quote-unquote destroy Bitcoin. Spoiler alert, they're probably not gonna make it. I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace.
There is no second best.